What is up, beautiful people? You should know by now it's Methos Kushrenada, your wolf brother from the channel Frost and Fist, and welcome to Wolfbrother Wednesday. So, as always, we're going to start off with a hobby update. And Friday, we've been setting up for a match between me and Freak to actually finish our Psyker match. And it was a really fun game. Really excited. We wanted to bring you guys a full battle report on it. Unfortunately, we did the recording and it just didn't pan out. The recording part. We got to have a great game. But we had some problems with the SD card for the camera, and some of our files got corrupted. And then on top of that, we lost a whole round that for some reason didn't record correctly. And so we lost Imperial Fist turn 1, and then we lost everything after turn 2. And so we only really had a couple of pieces. We had our army showcase, we had some deployment, and then we had like basically my turn 1 and a couple of parts of turn 2, and that was it. So just too many pieces of our match were missing to actually construct a battle report. I know Freak and I talked about trying to salvage some of the highlights from the game, so we might do a separate game highlights video, or Freak, being that he's got the camera, may actually put some of those highlights into his Freaky Friday. Unfortunately, it's some of our favorite parts that didn't get captured. But let me tell you, something was really off that night for me as far as my game goes, because we had really similar lists. It was crazy how similar our lists were. And as I mentioned in a previous Wolfbrother Wednesday, I was going challenge mode. No cavalry, no wolfen, no gunship. I decided to take some of the tools in my kit that I become accustomed to using and decide to play them more like Space Marines. And actually it was a really cool, pretty balanced match. Or at least it was in theory. Something was off for me. Like, I was rolling fistful of ones every turn. And, I rolled almost no sixes. We actually were counting. And, it's funny because mathematically they say that for every one you roll, there's a 6 coming. And that happened. For every fistful of ones I rolled, Freak in turn rolled a fistful of 6s. It was crazy. I've never seen the luck so one-sided. In fact, there was one point, and I try and put on a great face in front of the camera, but I was even sour on camera because I had 8 saves to make, and out of 8 dice, I rolled 8 ones. That's 100% failure. Not even just a failure. It was 100% botches, 100% ones. Like, if you play D&D or any other role-playing game, rolling 1 is the worst possible roll you can make. And I rolled 8 of them. 8 out of 8. That's 100% botching. It's crazy. I definitely think I need to get my luck together. So, what I'm going to do is actually, if you've seen our dice theory video, there's a certain way I like to bless my dice. And I think I'm going to be doing that for you here on camera next Wolfbrother Wednesday. We'll go through, and while I'm answering my Q&A, I will be blessing my dice in front of the camera. So that'll be fun. And I hope that helps me turn this around, because I had to, and it's probably my turn. It's my time, right? Because I had been rolling hot for a little while, ever since I got the Kablams dice. And then this game, it was just horrible. I mean, I say I was rolling hot with Kablams dice. That's because I was rolling well for me. And still, at this point, if you ask anyone in my gaming store, who rolls the worst, they will tell you nobody rolls more ones than your wolf brother. And it's funny because everybody has noticed. Like, everybody in the gaming store will tell you the same thing. There's some people who only come a couple of times, and they know that's the guy. If you feel like a win, that guy can't make armor saves to save his life. So for me to say it was a bad night for me, yeah, it was horrible. Last week on Wolfbrother Wednesday, I talked about how sometimes when the rolls are going badly, I can go on tilt. And I positively did start to feel on tilt on Friday. Like, I was just so sour with myself by the end of it. I wasn't even mad at anybody. I was just like, man, I cannot believe this luck. You know, it's demoralizing when you see every single dice you put down are all ones. But all in all, we had a great time. It's funny because Freak really wanted to capture that moment with the all ones, and it was on camera, but it's one of the files that got corrupted, which is a shame because I think it would have been hilarious to show on camera, you know, or on the show here. But you know, we're working out our issues with the SD card, and we're also, you know, we had a few missteps working with our new gear. Freak told you during Freaky Friday that we got in some new wireless mics, which sounded great when we were using them in the store, and I think they're really going to help boost our sound quality, which is in turn going to help us give you better content. But with that, you know, while we were learning to use them, we had a few missteps while we were in the store, and so we're still going to work on trying to tweak that, so that way we can take that awesome tool and make it the best it can be. So definitely looking forward to that. So upcoming as far as game wise in the hobby, I've got a match this coming Friday night, and it is 1850, and I will be facing a gentleman from our store named Ryan. And Ryan, I always have great games with us. Speaking of great games, I sat there and just lectured for 20 minutes or so just now on how bad my rolling was with Freak, but it was honestly such a close game. I mean, we ended 10-8, you know, just a 2-point difference. And as sour as I was, I actually won. It just felt demoralizing just to see my performance as far as dice go so badly. But I got lucky with some objectives, and it was Spoils of War. So if you get lucky with objectives, that can quickly spiral in your favor. So it was still a really, really close game, being 8-10. Speaking of close games, like I said, this coming match that I have against Ryan, he plays Dark Eldar, or in the past he's played Dark Eldar, and it was both of them were super close games. One was real early in my Space Wolf career, and he just shot me off the table because that, you know, Dark Eldar, they've got a great alpha strike, and they just get so many shots that, you know, if you're prone to rolling ones for your armor saves like a Wolfbrother is, and somebody tells you to make 20-something saves, it's a good chance that squad's going to be gone, just because, you know, the numbers involved. But he just has a real good strategy on where to position, you know, his skimmers and get all those open top shots out the window and try and shut down your army before you can start building up steam. So he wiped me off the map the first time we played. And then the second time I brought a Rune Priest with Geokinesis, and I put my cavalry on a piece of large terrain and threw it across the board. And the cavalry charged off the terrain during the movement, during the assault phase, and directly into his line of ships at the back. And you know, from there it was a pretty telling game after that. And I had Wolfen come up the center to meet him, and I had the cavalry, you know, pretty much from the beginning of the game on his back line. And so that game worked in my favor. So both of us, I mean, even though the first game he alpha striked me and wiped out a huge chunk of my army, and even though second game, you know, I shifting worldscape and took out a huge chunk of his army first turn, we still went punch for punch in both of those games and had some really, really epically close games. So every time I have a game with this guy, it's a fun game. And so I'm really looking forward to this 1850 game we're going to be doing on Friday. Now, I don't know if he's playing Dark Eldar still. He's also recently taken to playing Noise Marines and, you know, getting in that Slaneshi goodness. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing against Chaos or if I'm going to be playing against some Dark Eldar. But either way, I'm looking to take, some corruption and punch it in the face in the name of the Emperor. So, looking real forward to that. And because it's always a close game with Ryan, I definitely know I need to bring my A game. So, Cavalry's back. Wolfen are back. I'm going to do everything I can to lay the smack down. So, really excited. Hoping all of our technical issues are aside this week. I'm going to try and bring my camera and get it recorded for you as a bat rep, but we'll see how that goes. So, that's the game side of the hobby. Now, on the workbench right now, first of all, I started a project this weekend because I wanted to join in on the Styrene Freaks 48-hour build. So, first of all, shout out to Brian over at AtomicDog Scale Model Freak and the Styrene Freaks Facebook page. They had a really cool event this weekend called the 48-hour build from 6 p.m. Friday to 6 p.m. Sunday. How much can you get done? Set a project in sight and see if you can get it done in 48 hours. So, I, of course, the Blood Bowl box that I showed you guys last Wolfbrother Wednesday, that's what I entered in for my 48-hour build. Unfortunately, you know how it goes with work and all. I did end up having to work this weekend and didn't get done nearly as much as I wanted to. So, my very first 48-hour build, because of work restrictions, unfortunately, was a fail. Now, I did get the build done. Unfortunately, I did not get to touch a lick of paint. So, but even though I failed, please go over to the Styrene Freaks Facebook page and check them out, because so many entries not only finished within 48 hours, but had some amazing results and some really good models that came out of this event. My personal favorite is I saw an X-Wing painted up black with some silver and gold trim, and I thought it looked amazing. I'm a big Star Wars fan anyways, and seeing that painted up in that darker color scheme, actually kind of similar to my Silver Moon Wolves, I thought I was really quite chuffed with that paint job. But anyways, go check out, go visit Brian, the AtomicDog Scale Model Freaks Facebook page, the Styrene Freaks, and check out all the really cool projects that happened during this 48-hour build. So I'm going to show you guys some pictures of my dwarves they're the dwarves that I'm working on for a commission, and check out the build. So you'll see these two pictures flashing here. That's how they look all together, and I think, for not knowing anything about Blood Bowl, I think the sculpts of the models look really cool. Okay, if I didn't know that this was specifically for a football type, fantasy game, I mean, these dwarves look pretty beefy and buff. I can't wait to lay some paint down on these guys, especially the Troll Slayers. They're not wearing any shirts. They've just got some pieces of armor on. No shoes, no shirt, but they're about to give some service, crashing into, the enemy front lines. It's just really cool and impressive builds. Now, one thing that interests me about these kits, it's the same 6-man team twice to get a 12-man team. So pretty interesting. So I had to look for some ways to try and vary up the sculpts, but most of them came out kind of similar. Every once in a while, they're like for the Troll Slayers up front, there's an option for swapping a head, or something like that. There was a couple of places where to get a slightly different look, like I changed one of the arms for an arm on a different model, but then something weird like the ponytail would be attached to that shoulder piece, so I'd have to green stuff in to make the ponytail connect to the back of the helmet again. But overall, it came out looking cool. I'm just trying to get a touch of variety in there. So really, I've really enjoyed working on these models. Even though building is honestly my least favorite part, I'm really excited to slap some paint on these guys and bring them to life. Just like Amy Lee in Evanescence. So that's what I worked on for my 48-hour build. Again, I got the build done. I am incomplete because I didn't get the paint done. But really quite excited about going forward and actually getting in some work on them. The paint scheme my clients requested is going to be a dark forest green, so I'll probably use Caliban green and lighten it up with some highlighting. And forest green with gold trim. And most of the beards and hair are supposed to be brown, but there's a couple variations in here. He's got listed as some specifics, but overall they're going to look cool. Next thing I worked on, I figured since there was no way I could get everything painted in time, to go ahead and knock out those Wolfen models so I can get those parts sent over to IDICBeer. And you can see here, those Wolfen are pretty much done. So I've got the extra sprues ready to go. I even managed to dig through my old boxes of sprues and find the sprues from my very first set of Wolfen. So I'll be able to send him up all my extra weapons and sprues for his Wolfen conversion. So that's awesome. So that's all packed up and ready to go now. So that's one project out of the way. Now the next thing I need to do is move on to shoutouts. So of course, wrapping up, I mean, really, my build, my workbench really was a shout out in and of itself, because my first shout out is to Brian over at AtomicDog Scale Model Freak and the entire Styrene Freaks Facebook page. Please go check out all those awesome guys. Now, they're not just wargaming related. Some of these models are from model cars, some of these models are from wargaming, some of these are Star Wars models, some of these are historical models. That's kind of the cool thing about the Styrene Freaks Facebook page, is that it's all about the hobby. It's not just it's not about clicks and specialties of who's in what project. It's just, hey, all of us are doing this hobby together, working on plastic models, and let's show our work and do it together. So I think that's really cool. My next shout out is over at Max at Malaga War Games. And Max is, oh my God, since our first shout out to Max, hoping he'd get to 100, that man has steamrolled it. I mean, he's killing it. He's almost to 1,000 now. And that's because he is doing some really, really excellent content in both Spanish and English. And he identified that there's kind of a lack of a Spanish community, and he decided to lead the Spanish community, and he did some how to play 40K stuff. He's doing tutorials, and so he's balancing English and Spanish very well, and he's appealing to two different markets. So really, really, really excellent, smart business moves there, and really quality content. Man just did a giveaway. He's been doing a giveaway for the last, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks now, maybe a month. But letting he had a scaling giveaway system. The more subs that he got during that time period, the more he would give away. And so he ended up giving away several prizes, and I just got around to seeing the video today. But I was quite pleased to see that we here at the Frost and Fists were the first winners on that giveaway. So really stoked about that. And we'll be getting some Deathwatch dice as part of his giveaway. Also, our Legion brother, Big Mech Dan Skull, was also one of the winners in Max's giveaway, and he got some Thousand Suns dice. So really, really exciting, that we and another Legion of Gamza member won a couple of the early prizes. And of course, Max gave away even more prizes after that, and I thought that was a really cool and really smart to do that kind of scaling giveaway system where more subs unlocks more prizes. Such a smart idea. So anyways, like I said, got great Spanish content and great English content. Please go check him out over at Malaga War Games. Next, brand new channel, just out for about 3 or 4 weeks now, but such crisp, clean, professional looking work. My next shout out is I want you to go check out Wargamer Online. They're just starting. I think they're already in just a couple weeks have over 100 subs. They would deserve, I mean, they're probably even close to 200 by now. I'm not sure. But I know they deserve thousands upon thousands because they have such clean, crisp, professional work. I mean, I'm already looking at them like, man, I want to grow up to be like them one day. That's how clean and professional they are. They've done some great work with the Wargamer Viking, and their work on their own is just amazing and stands out on its own. I really like, they've got some amazing tutorials, and I haven't watched any of their bat reps yet, but definitely looking forward to those. But just in general, I can guarantee if you stop what you're doing right now, go over to their channel and see how professional their channel is and how excellently content and the execution is. You're going to be impressed, and you're going to be glad I sent you. My next shout out, I've got a lot of shout outs this week, and that's just because, you know, I'm just going through the videos and just the community is really impressing me, and I'm so honored to be part of this community. So if I'm going on a little long-winded with the shout outs today, I apologize. But that's y'all's fault for being so awesome and amazing and inspiring me to call you out. My next shout out is to Without a Clue Wargaming. And man, I love this guy's work. He does such clean work with the airbrush. I mean, his highlights, he's got these really cool glow effects that he does on anything energy or plasma related that has become kind of signature to his look on things he paints. And my favorite thing so far, they love Zone Mortalis games, and watching this one of these Zone Mortalis bat reps, I got to see an entire Custodes army go to battle, and not only go to battle, but hold their own against a Primarch, and I think they even won the game. And just watching them perform there, I was really, really impressed. I mean, I have some Custodes from buying the Burning of Prospero set, and I've kind of been interested in looking at the Custodes as an army, watching other people do it. But first of all, the Custodes army on Without a Clue, because not only do they have that really awesome gold armor look, but they trim theirs in purple, and the purple is an amazing contrast. I love the color purple anyways, but it looks great against that gold. And then so their Custodes army looks, you know, it looks amazing, and then getting to see it in battle and seeing how awesome and beat stick like they are, you know, and getting to see those bolters mounted onto the spears in action and just seeing them cleave through units, I was really impressed. I gotta say, I've given a lot of answers to what would be my next army. You know, I've talked about Minotaurs, I talked about doing a wolf-themed White Scars army, which is still kind of an idea that I'd like to see. I even talked about doing an Age of Sigmar Marines with a wolf theme, which is still an idea I'd like to work on. But these Custodes as an army also look really tempting as the next Wolfbrother army. I don't know how I would wolf theme it, but so I'd probably have to fit it in somewhere. But either way, they look just phenomenal. So anyways, I'm ranting on, but just go check out their channel. Check out his amazing Custodes and his amazing glow effects, his amazing airbrush work. Oh, and they do games other than 40k, like Drop Zone Commander. I probably shouldn't leave that out. It's a big part of their channel. I was even doing a custom board build for Drop Zone Commander. I hope I got that name right. And, you know, watching him build that table and how professional this, you know, scratch-built, lit-up table looks, you're going to be impressed. And then, of course, my last shout-out, man needs no shout-out. I mean, man's got over 20,000 subs in less than a year. But I just love his personality. I love his money-saving tips. And, you know, the way he does all of his terrain builds. Go check out Luke's APS. I mean, with 20,000 subs in under a year, I don't know anyone that's probably not subbed to Luke at this point. But Luke over at Luke's APS is just... he's so great because, first of all, he's such a humble guy with such a cool personality anytime I watch him on stuff. But in addition to his awesome personality, which is going to make you want to come back for more anyways, the man does so many money-saving tips. This is how you do this cheaper. This is how you do this less expensive. This is how you make it cheaper than GW. And he actually will call out names. this is how you do this cheaper than GW, this is how you do this cheaper than Woodland Scenics, and it's just as good quality, if not better. You know, and he's actually bringing it to you from a standpoint of the fact that he does terrain for a living, he does commissions for a living, and he actually, you know, did painting and design work before actually, you know, he did a lot of work with paint before coming to the hobby life. So, you know, he's got a lot of technical knowledge in addition to the hobby knowledge. So, like I said, go check out Luke's Affordable Paint Services if you're not already subbed. But at this point, he's well on his way to having just about everybody in the hobby subbed already. And those are all my shout-outs for Luke. I probably spent way too long in the show on that. However, everybody's just been so amazing lately. I just need to call them out. Alright, beautiful people, so I'm going to let that wrap up part 1 of this week's Wolfbrother Wednesday. Unfortunately, your Wolfbrother talks way too damn much, and the overall show this week ended up being an hour, and I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to me ramble on for an hour straight, so what I'm going to do is break this up into 2 easier to digest chunks, part 1 and part 2, and when you're seeing this, about a day later, you'll get the Wolfbrother Wednesday Part 2, and that'll contain this week's Q&A portion and Pack of the Wolfbrother, along with my question of the week. So, I appreciate your patience, guys. And that'll do it for this show. If you liked the show today, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And drop me some comments down below and let me know what you think of this week's hobby update or this week's shoutouts, because I had some really, really awesome channels that I wanted to shout out this week, and I really think you're going to like their work. You probably are already subscribed to them. You probably already love their work, and they are all great channels to subscribe to. And let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you are not yet part of the pact, then the Freakmeister and I would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist, so go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, guys, stay frosty.